Hello, my name is Bailey and I own an ambulance that I'm currently converting into a camper van. This video is going to be about all of the electrical issues that we've been having lately. There have been a few of them, and also just general electrical things that we've been doing. I hope you enjoy!
Chapter 1, Taking a Panel Off.
We are in the ambulance right now. I am with my fiance Alex, and we had some electrical issues on the way here. That you probably saw those in the last video, and you could check those out, but if not, there's some weird power draw things going on with the battery. We think there might be a short somewhere. Sometimes my headlights flicker when they're not supposed to be on, stuff like that. So Alex is going to take apart some of my instrument cluster and control panel, and that's what we're doing today. We're going to try to figure the problem out. Hopefully that all works out. We are taking this whole control panel off right now to see if there's any issues we can see under it. Then we eventually are going to do this control panel as well, and also the headlight control that's over on the other side. That's a dial.
Here we are taking the panel off, here I am unscrewing it. We did not end up finding anything that was visually wrong on the other side of it. We also still do not know what is causing the headlight issue, for the headlights to come on intermittently when we do not want them to, or for the brights to flicker when just the regular headlights are on. So we still have to figure that out eventually. If you have any comments or suggestions for that part, I would love for you to leave them down in the comments below so I can read them and respond to them. And we also didn't get very far with this part since we had to go back inside to charge the multimeter since it did not come charged, so we didn't realize that. And then we just ended up not going back out after this. So I just wanted to show this part since I thought it was a little interesting to see the back of this panel, and I probably will be working on it more in the future. We also did not take the bottom control panel with all of the switches off or anything like that, but we will be doing that in the future as well. Chapter 2, The Big Issue.
We actually didn't get very far with the stuff that we were doing in that last part of the video since we were very strapped for time, but when we were driving back to Las Vegas from the desert in California, we started having the same problem that we had during our first road trip. If you watched that video, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you did not, I'll give a short recap of the issue here. We were driving and my voltmeter, which is right here on my dash, which shows how many volts are in my battery, started to flicker. The voltmeter would start to flicker from about 13 down to 10 or 8 like this, and at the same time my ABS light up here in the middle would flash on at the same time, just for a second though, and then eventually my engine stalled and we had to pull over on the side of the road because my battery was completely dead. It didn't even have enough power for the emergency lights to go on at the time. So we pulled over and we got a new battery, and after that it seemed to fix the problem for the time being, but on the rest of our drive, when we went over a big pothole, the ABS light would flash on for just a second and the voltmeter would flicker for one time, but we only had that happen twice, and then on the way back from that trip nothing happened, so we kind of figured that the problem was mostly gone. So on our next trip back from Palm Springs to Las Vegas, we started having the same issue. I do have a little clip that I'm going to insert right after this that was in the beginning of the trip before we knew that we were going to have issues. I will play that right now. Hello, my name is Bailey and I own an ambulance that I'm currently converting into a camper van. Today we are driving back from the desert in California to Las Vegas for a few family things that I have to do, and this is right after we drove from Oxnard, well, to Oxnard, then back from Oxnard, and had all those battery issues, so I'm hoping that this drive goes well. We went on our merry way, and then about an hour outside of Las Vegas started to have the same issue. Flickering voltmeter, my ABS light flashing on at the same time, flashing on and off at the same time, and at one point all of my gauges went down but my engine did not shut off, and then we did eventually end up stalling again. So we pulled over to the side of the road and we switched the batteries, we checked the connectors in the front, and everything seemed fine right after that. So we got back on the road and then the issue started happening immediately again. So we stalled again, we pulled over to the side of the road again, and I just really didn't know what to do. We were an hour out from Vegas, there was really nothing around us, and we were late for a family party, and I just wasn't sure what to do. Alex decided to go look at the electrical in the back right after that while I was doing some research.
Going in the back of the ambulance.
Over here we have the compressor for the air brakes on the ambulance. When I climbed back here, after we had the issues on the road, I looked around at a few other things first, but I didn't see anything glaring. And then while I was adjusting some of our stuff we had packed over here, I noticed that this cage was loose. And wasn't loose before we got the metal work done, and I hadn't checked it since. So it looks like when they did the cut out this cabinet and welded over this panel, they did not reattach the protective cage on the air compressor, and so it was sitting hooked under the screws on the floor there, just enough that it would spring up and down as we hit bumps. And it would only happen intermittently. And so what was happening is that there's some exposed copper on this connection here that would intermittently, you want to get a little closer here, intermittently make contact with the cage and short it out to ground and kill our battery. Once I noticed that, I got it all taped up and got the cage moved out of the way for a temporary basis. And we're gonna get that all reattached and properly patched up here now.
On the way home after that, we didn't have any other issues with the battery, so I definitely think it was that. I'm really glad we figured it out, because I don't know how else we would have figured it out at the time, and we probably would have had to have the ambulance towed, which would have been really unfortunate, and we were already late for the family party and everything. And so with everything that Alex did, we ended up making it back to the house in time, and we made it to the family party, and I am very glad that we got that figured out, because I don't know how else we would have figured it out if the cabinet was still here and that just wasn't in sight, because that would have been a lot harder to figure out. I also realized during our drive that the ABS light that was flashing on when the voltmeter was flickering was most likely due to the fact that it was on the air compressor, the short was, and the air compressor supplies all the air to my air brakes. So it was all connected to the brake circuit. So once it found a slight fault in the air compressor when it was shorting to the battery, it would flash the ABS light on, so it was warning me of that issue. So that makes a lot of sense now, and I am glad that we figured that out as well.
Chapter 3, Final Thoughts.
I'm really glad that we got everything figured out that we did, and if you guys have any suggestions or comments about the headlights coming on intermittently when they're not supposed to, again, let me know down in the comments. And I post here every Thursday, and I post on my blog also every Thursday, but also sometimes Monday. So check those out if you guys would like to, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching!